This is an ABC News special report. Trump and Kim, the historic summit. Now reporting from Singapore, George Stephanopoulos.
Good evening. You saw it right there, that handshake that has never happened before. An American president, a North Korean dictator shaking hands here in Singapore just about an hour ago. The president and Kim Jong Un then went behind closed doors after that greeting before the cameras, both saying they expect a very good meeting. Saw a slight smile on the face of Kim Jong Un, the president relatively serious there before the cameras. Both showing a stern face to the world. And then just moments ago, after meeting for about 40 minutes with their translators, the president and Kim Jong Un walking across that colonnade for a broader meeting where they're going to be with their top staff. That is underway right now. The president, joined by his Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, his National Security Advisor, John Bolton, Chief of Staff, John Kelly, delegation there with Kim Jong Un as well. Our chief White House correspondent, John Carl, covers the White House every day there with the White House Filing Center. And John, interesting that John Bolton made it into that meeting. He has been the hardest of hardliners on North Korea, almost tanked the meeting last month when he talked about the Libya model, North Korea doing away with all of its nuclear weapons. And we all know what happened to Muammar Gaddafi.
Yeah, Gaddafi, of course, gave up the nuclear weapons and then was murdered on the streets of Tripoli. But Bolton is somebody who is the hardest of hardliner. George, you remember shortly before he became National Security Advisor, he joked that the way to tell the North Koreans are lying is to look at whether their lips are moving. The North Koreans detest John Bolton, but there's a little bit of a good cop, bad cop going on here. Obviously, Mike Pompeo seems to have established quite warm relations with Kim Jong Un. He's met with him now multiple times. And the big question coming out of this is, will there be any agreement whatsoever? George, I would say that the single biggest way to measure the success of this first meeting, if it is a first meeting, is whether or not they are saying that they will meet again, because clearly you're not going to get a detailed agreement out of this short encounter here in Singapore.
That's the question, Martha Raddatz. Can they cobble together some kind of joint statement that sets the groundwork for future negotiations?
I'm sure that's what they're trying to do, but let's remember what the goal eventually is. Complete, verifiable, irreversible denuclearization. Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, said that very clearly here yesterday. They say it again and again.
And David Muir, that was the question that Kim Jong Un ignored 3 times in that walk across the colonnade.
Yeah, you heard reporters asking him this repeatedly. He'll get it, no question, again before this day is over. Kim Jong Un asked, will he get rid of his nuclear weapons? But, George, as you know, ultimately that's what got him to the table across from the President of the United States in the first place. He's launched more ballistic missiles than his father and grandfather combined. The test of that hydrogen bomb last September, larger than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. And you heard Secretary of State Mike Pompeo pressed on this repeatedly in the last 24 hours. Will there be any kind of agreement that allows for economic relief before all of that is destroyed? And he was very clear, and perhaps it's posturing going into the summit, but he was clear in the last 24 hours saying no economic relief until we see all of that destroyed.
The sequencing is so important. That's what they're negotiating right now. We're going to stay with this all night long. We're going to return out to regular programming for all of you watching the network, but continuing with our coverage on the digital ABC News Online.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.